members of the Resistance.
It's okay. Just me.
I need to start off this video by making a confession. I've never really played a Ratchet and Clank game before. At least, not fully. I did play a little bit of the first one when I was younger, and I'll admit I did go through All for One, though that's not really the same experience. So yeah, Rift Apart is really my full first-on take with the Ratchet and Clank series. What did I think? Let's find out. After crashing your big celebration, Dr. Nefarious manages to use a weapon known as the Dimensionator to create rifts that lunge everything into chaos. Ratchet and Clank are separated, each meeting up with a different version of the other. What follows is typical platforming fare. You go to different places, collect a bunch of stuff, and that's really about it. I know that just sounded like I was bagging on the game, but let me just say that I really do like experiences like this. Heck, I grew up with these type of games, and there is a lot that Ratchet and Clank does right. So let's start off by talking about the weapons. Each weapon is very different from the other, and make you approach combat differently. From the ricochet that launches a ball that hits the enemies over and over again, to the topiary sprinkler which turns enemies into shrubs. Each one of these is fascinating to use, and I always looked forward to what the next one would do. Even more impressive is that the PS5 controller gives these weapons two modes of fire. A slight pull of the trigger gives it a short burst of fire, while a full pull gives it a full blast. And since each weapon is different, what this means varies depending on the weapon. Many of the worlds are also unique, and while there are a few that I didn't like that desert planet, there was still a lot more that I was really enjoying and loved to explore to see all I could discover. I also really liked the characters and the performances behind them, especially that of the antagonist, who no doubt steal the show from time to time. Yeah, all in all, there's really not a lot that Ratchet and Clank does wrong. But there's also not a lot that it does extraordinarily well either. Now don't get me wrong, I did enjoy my time throughout the entire adventure, but I couldn't help but feel I had done all of this before in other games. The few unique moments the game presents, like the guns, have been in previous entries in the series, so while it is technically new to me, it most definitely won't be new to returning players. I know it's a weird complaint and it's really not going to affect a lot of you, and most of you are probably going, what the hell do you want from this game, Jan? But let me make it clear that I'm not saying this is a bad game. I wanted a little bit more from it, but the game still does a lot of stuff very, very well, like the weapon system. And it even has this really cool tethering system where you can actually warp from one side of the field to the other with this tether-like device, and it does it seamlessly with no load times. All of that is very, very impressive to see and play through. I'll even mention that I think some of the collectibles are very interesting. Never did I really feel compelled to go after any of them, but there are some unique ones. As much as I just said that I did not like the desert planet, it does have this really cool collectible that I really wanted to go after because of what it told you. And I won't ruin it here just because I think that's definitely one of the highlights of the game, but again, it's another thing that I think the game does very well. So with all of that being said, I give Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart a 4 out of 5, with the recommendation to play it. Yes, I would have liked to have seen it take a step further than it did, but that being said, I think it's still a very fun experience that you should definitely play, especially if you have a PS5, as you don't really have many exclusives for it just yet. And with that, we finished another review. We've had a pretty solid lineup thus far, so here's hoping that the final review doesn't come apart. Until then, guys, stay safe out there and have a good one.